Welcome to Football Scientific. I am Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahmas and the UFL. I'm a writer for the CFL News Hub. I cover the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the CFL. I also am a writer for FootballAnalysisOne.com, and I cover the Cincinnati Bengals. This week I have a series of articles about the top prospects of the Bengals before Thursday's NFL draft begins. Remember, there's 3 days of the draft. The first round is Thursday, then we have Friday and Saturday. I'm going through the top prospects for the Bengals to draft so we can go back and grade the Bengals draft, okay? Also, I cover the IFL, the Indoor Football League, the NAL National Arena League, and the ELF European League of Football. Today, we're going to go through one game review for the UFL. We're going to talk about San Antonio Brahmas upsetting the DC Defenders on Easter. Boom! Let's go. Brahmas getting their first win of the season. And then we'll go through power rankings on the UFL, IFL, and NAL. We'll talk about some NFL news and some CFL news. So that's the plan today. I am joined by my co-host, Wolfie D. Wolfie D is back! Yes, Wolfie D, I saw the Easter Bunny. Edited Easter Bunny took your spot during the Easter shows. Yeah. He took my spot, but I'm back. I'm fired up, ready to talk about football. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Football Scientific fans, let's hit this thing. Let's get it. Yay. All right, good energy there, Wolfie D. All right, so first, like I said, the first one we'll talk about is a game review from yesterday's game, from last night's game in the UFL. For the Easter game, the San Antonio Brahmas traveled to the DC Defenders. They were 0-3 against the 3-0 DC Defenders. I had written a game plan article, a pre-game preview article about how the Brahmas should attack this game. I mentioned they should run the dang ball, okay? Run the ball, use play action, help Kellerman get comfortable in the game, help their offensive line, take on one of the best defensive fronts in the UFL, and then get their receivers active. And it really seems like Peyton Party, he must be a Football Scientific fan, a UFL News Hub fan. He followed that game plan. The only thing that didn't get done was 2 or more turnovers. I mentioned they should be +2 on the turnover margin. They didn't get that, but they got everything else. They ran the ball. Boom. They got Kellerman some easy completions. Boom. They went through, and the new kicker did a nice job kicking. That's Tristan Vizcaino. He didn't kick any field goals. Didn't need to. But they did finish their drives this time. That's way different than the other games. They're getting better every week, and maybe it seems like they're back. Okay, they're back to make a run. 1-3, they're behind everyone else, but St. Louis Battlehawks are crashing. They're crashing hard. DC Defenders are beatable. People follow the template, they'll beat them. Arlington Renegades, probably like the best team in the XFL conference right now. But aside from them, the San Antonio Brahmas beat the DC Defenders 24-18. How did they do it? Kellerman, quarterback Kellerman of the Brahmas, went 14 for 20 for 121 yards. He threw 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions at a QBR of 102.3. He also ran the ball 3 times. That's by far his best game of the year. That's probably his best professional football game, actually. He's been in the NFL, but didn't get much opportunity. So this is probably his best game of his professional career, okay? Running back Anthony McFarland, he didn't get the 9 yards per carry. He was picking up coming into this game, but he got 14 carries, 55 yards, established in the run game. New running back Aiden Robbins, who got added late in the week last week. Not super late, but late in the week. In the second half of the week, had 4 runs, but they're for 13 yards. 4 runs, 13 yards, but there are 2 touchdowns included there. So he's a really good short yardage specialist, putting the ball in the end zone for the red zone. They need that. The Brahmas have needed that. Okay, if John Lovett comes back, they got 2 guys who can do that. Robbins and Lovett could both be pumping the ball into the end zone. Also, wide receiver Greg Ward had his first touchdown of the season. He had 3 catches, 20 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, the Brahmas got 1 sack. Not great, but holds their average. And 6 tackles for a loss. Okay, that ended up being huge. Okay, DC Defenders have had a great defense, but average offense. That continues somewhat. Jordan Tayama, the quarterback of the DC Defenders, went 19 for 31 for 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. QBR was 104.2, played a little better. He had more yards. than Kellerman. He has explosive offense, that they kind of have that play action stuff going down. He had 10 runs for 74 yards and a rushing touchdown, so he did his part to win the game. Running back Abram Smith got shut down, 13 runs for 39 yards, 3 yards to carry. Wide receiver Braylon Sanders, who replaced Ty Scott, 3 catches for 87 yards. That's a pretty good day. Wide receiver Barley Moore McKinney, he had 1 catch for 39 yards and a lone touchdown reception for Jordan Teamu. Here's the big story. Brahmas offensive line, they came with a good game plan, and they ended up doing a good job of shutting down the vicious DC defenders' defensive line, so much so they give up 0 sacks and only 5 tackles for loss. They did get crushed in the backfield when running back got totally crushed. But otherwise, no sacks, and Kellerman moves on. They did a great job of surviving the butcher shop. Boom, got it. All right, next. Because of that game, I got my UFL rankings ready to go. I went 3-1 this weekend in predictions. I'm glad I got the one wrong that I got wrong. That was the Brahmas upsetting DC defenders. I didn't think they could do it, but they certainly got it done. Peyton Party starts his official head coaching career with a 1-0 start. Nice job, Peyton Party. Nice job. Okay, hope they keep rolling the ball. All right, power rankings. I got number 1, jumping to the top. The Birmingham Stallions at 3-1. They're back at the top. Can they hold it? We'll see. They've lost the game every year. They lost the first game of the year against DC. Maybe they'll run that out. Hopefully not, but they might. Number 2, Arlington Renegades. They're 3-1. They're my number 2 team. So Birmingham Stallions, number 1. Arlington Renegades, number 2. They played a good game against St. Louis. Get lots of defensive touchdowns. Not a lot of offense, though, so they're easier to shut down, guys. Shut down the running game, and Luis Perez is going to struggle to carry this team. That's how you beat Arlington. Shut down the running game, manage Luis Perez. He'll throw some interceptions. Michigan Panthers are 3-1 after beating the Memphis Showboats. They're my number 3 team. Number 4 is the DC Defenders. They were 3-0. They got upset by the Brahmas. They're still 3-1. They're still the class of the XFL conference in my mind. In terms of their defense, Arlington Renegades have the same record, 3-1. But I feel like the DC Defenders are the better team out of those two. But this last week, Arlington was definitely the better team. So they've been bumped up. DC Defenders got bumped down from the number 1 spot down to number 4. St. Louis Battlehawks are 2-2. They are crashing. They have a 2-game losing streak. They are crashing. And then Manny Wilkins is out now. Turns out you shut down a running game. Their quarterbacks fall apart. Literally, Manny Wilkins fell apart. He fell on the ground. His ankle is hurt. Okay, all right. They're 2-2. Number 6, San Antonio Brahmas up from the basement. They came from 8-6. They're 1-3. Huge win against the DC Defenders on Easter. Hope we can follow it up and win over the Houston Roughnecks, who's at number 7. Houston Roughnecks are number 7. They traveled to the Alamo Dome to face the San Antonio Brahmas in their home opener in week 5. That's crazy. Hopefully San Antonio can come out and run a similar game plan to last week and get this win and get 2 in a row. You get into midway through the season at 2-3. Okay, they just need to win 4 in the second half. They'll be back to 7-3. They'll be back in the playoffs. Okay, they'll be right back where they were last year. They got a chance. That win yesterday was huge for the Brahmas. Okay, all right. Houston Roughnecks 1-3 also. They beat the Memphis Showboats. They are in a less good spot, but if they beat the Brahmas on the road, then they are in a pretty good spot too. Not so much in the USL Conference. It's a 3-1, but they are in 3rd place firmly if they beat the Brahmas. Hopefully, they will not beat the Brahmas. Brahmas need to beat them, and they have a chance to move up. They have a chance to move in front of the St. Louis Battlehawks. Okay, and that would be awesome. All right. Boom. Last place, number 8 team is Memphis Showboats, 0-4. They lost to the Roughnecks. The winner and the loser of that game was going to be 8 unless the Brahmas lost to DC. Boom. That's my UFL rankings for this week. Boom. Brahmas are climbing the rankings. Okay, let's go. Week 5 in the IFL. So there's 5 weeks of games so far. The power rankings have changed a little bit. There's been some upsets. So first, number 1 is still the Arizona Rattlers at 3-0. They didn't play this week. They're still 3-0. They're the defending IFL national champions. They're going to be the top team until someone knocks them off, okay? No one's knocked them off yet. Number 2, Quad City Steamrollers. Quad City Steamrollers are 4-0. They're the only 4-0 team in the IFL. They haven't played, in my opinion, the best competition. But we're going to find out a lot about the Quad City Steamrollers this week as they play the Jacksonville Sharks. Okay, at home. They're at home against Jacksonville. Jacksonville got knocked off by Massachusetts without Jimmy Robinson playing. I'm assuming they're resting up for this week to face the Quad City Steamrollers. This is going to be a huge game in the Eastern Conference. But right now, Quad City's number 2. Number 3, Bay Area Panthers are 3-1. They're on a 3-game winning streak. So they've taken over. They beat the Fisher Freight pretty convincingly. They're moving along. Josh Jones is playing well. They have a weak part of schedule. It's hard to say, but they are moving along. I predict they'd be number 2 team in the Western Conference, and they are. Eventually, things pan out the way I said they were going to. Number 4, the Jacksonville Sharks are number 4 now. They were 3-0. They were number 2, but they got knocked off by the Massachusetts Pirates. Now, they weren't at full strength, so I hesitated for a minute to knock them down. But Jimmy Robinson isn't hurt. They just decided to hold him back. So, they did it to themselves. Okay, they're 3-1 now. They did it to themselves. I wouldn't have done that for my home for a home game. I wouldn't have rested Jimmy Robinson then. But I think they're getting ready for this Quad City game. They win that, they're back in first place, and they will all knock Quad City down to a tie for first place as well in the Eastern Conference. Number 5, Massachusetts Pirates. Regardless of Jimmy Robinson's status, they came out and they got a road win in Jacksonville. It's hard to get a road win in the IFL. They picked it up against who I thought was the best team in the Eastern Conference. That's a big win for the Mass Pirates. They rebuilt their secondary last week, and it paid off with 2 interceptions, and that's enough for an IFL team to lose a game. And Jacksonville got bit by the interception bug. Okay, Mass Pirates, number 5, 2-2. Number 6, Green Bay Blizzard, 2-2, similar to the Quad City Steamrollers. I'm not convinced that they've had high-quality wins, but that Tulsa Oilers win was huge in that playoff game. They ended up in an overtime game. It's way too early for the playoffs, bro. Get it right. They ended up playing really, really well in that game offensively. Best I've ever seen them play offensively. Tulsa came back this week and got a win. So that means Green Bay is pretty good. Okay, Green Bay is a pretty good team. They're 2-2, and they got a win against Tulsa. So I mean that's pretty cool. 2-2. Number 6. Number 7, the Fisher's Freight has fallen from 4 to 7. They got beat for the second week in a row, 2-game losing streak. It looks like they're crashing out right now. They're going crazy, but their quarterback situation is a mess. They had Jaya Wright, who was out there balling. I believe he got injured, and now Keegan Shoemaker. In his first appearance in Massachusetts, he played pretty well, but then last week the bottom fell out. He had a horrible game, 4 for 14, 5 interceptions. So Fisher's Freight may be falling quickly in these power rankings if they can't get it together. That quarterback position is going to be trouble for them, okay? Number 8, Tulsa Oilers are 2-2. They got a win this week against San Antonio Gunslingers. I'm going to say nothing unexpected, nothing spectacular. They were around 8 last week. They stay around 8. They didn't do anything great. They didn't do anything poor. They didn't fumble the snap in the fourth quarter and lose the game like they did against Green Bay in overtime. Also against Green Bay. So, I mean, they're 2-2. They're hanging on. Right now, would they be a playoff team? Nope. They'd be outside the playoffs. They'd be tied with Fishers. So that's eventually going to shake out. I predicted they'd be a playoff team. But right now, they're right on that edge. It's still got 10 weeks left, so I'm just getting too hyped. San Diego Strike Force is my number 9 team. They're 1-2. They got a huge win against the Vegas Nighthawks last time they played. They didn't play this week. Number 10, Vegas Nighthawks. They're 1-2. They got a good win against San Diego. They got a big loss against San Diego. They got beat by the Sharks. They're the last good bad team. Okay, we call them the last good bad team. Vegas Nighthawks. Okay, they're not a great team. They're one-dimensional. Jerome Johnson's the thing. You make Jerome Johnson not run the ball and have to pass the ball. He's going to make mistakes. You're going to win that game. Okay. Tucson Sugar Skulls get a big jump from number 14 to number 11. They changed their quarterback position. Various people. They got rid of Eamon Caldwell, and that paid off to get a convincing win against the Northern Arizona Wranglers. Boom, they get their first win of the season. They move up to 1-2. Billy Bax is a good coach. He's obviously using some of his past connections to rebuild that team. They got a chance now. They beat the worst team in the league, but they got a chance they can put another one together. They'll be 2-2. They'll be right in the mix for the playoff spot. So, I mean, right now, do I have them in the playoffs right now in the West? 1, 2, 3, 4. My power rankings are very Eastern Conference heavy right now. I suspect that's going to shake out as we go. But we'll see. It's very Eastern Conference heavy. Usually the Western Conference is stronger, so it's just hard to tell with the data points we have right now. Tucson Sugar Skulls are 11-0. Number 12, they would be in the playoffs right now, mental note. They'd be the 4th place team. Number 12, San Antonio Gunslingers, who I have the playoff team, just can't get it right. They can't keep the offense bumping. They got 31 points this week against Tulsa. They just can't get enough points on the board. They're 1-3. Malik Henry, though, he's decent. He's not what Sam Casanova was last year. That guy was awesome. Number 13, Iowa Barnstormers. They didn't play. They're 0-3. They're second to last. They've played well at times. They're too one-dimensional. They're all passing. They can't do it. You can't win that way. 5-7 last time they played. You can't win that way. Northern Arizona Wranglers are 0-3. They just look like an expansion team. They're not good. They're not good. Boop. I don't see them getting better right now. All right. NAL Power Rankings. Are a really crazy week in the NAL. Really big games. If you keep up with that, I watched them on YouTube. They were back on YouTube. They got a new channel, the National Arena League channel. Okay, it says channel in the channel now, so I mean, that makes it different, I guess. So they're back. Watched the Beaumont Renegades came out and got a big win against the Columbus Lions on Friday night. They've beaten all the top teams in NAL so far. They've beaten Omaha Beef. They've beaten Sioux City Bandits. They've beaten the Columbus Lions. But now they're going to go on the road again, and they're going to face the Sioux City Bandits again. They beat them at home last time. They go on the road. Sioux City Bandits had to fight hard last week, so they might be a little tired. So Beaumont Renegades are my number 1 team right now. They're 3-0, only undefeated team. They're going to Sioux City. That might be a big game there. Okay. Number 2, Omaha Beef. They avoided 2 losses in a row. They picked up a big win against Sioux City Bandits. They're my number 2 team at 4-1. Number 3, Sioux City Bandits. They narrowly lost to the Omaha Beef. They've been a solid team. They're not the best team. They're not the worst team. They're in the middle there somewhere. They're at number 3. That Omaha Beef Sioux City game looked like a championship game, and it was a championship game last year, so it looked like those are still really good teams in this league. Number 4, Colorado Spartans, after shutting out the Idaho Horsemen. Second shutout a year in the NAL. This is crazy for an indoor football. Colorado Spartans came out, had 6 interceptions, and they won 49-0 for Idaho. That puts them at number 4. They wouldn't be in the playoffs right now because top 2 in each conference go to the playoffs, and they're unfortunately in the National Conference side with the Omaha Beef and Sioux City Bandits, so they wouldn't be a playoff team in my mind right now, but in the standings they would be. So, I mean, this is definitely the best year they've ever had, so they're in it. They're in the mix. Number 5, Columbus Lions are 2-2. We got to find out more about the Columbus Lions. They lost to the Beaumont Renegades, but everyone else lost to the Beaumont Renegades. So what's that really mean? It's hard to say. It's hard to say what it means. Wheeling Miners, they won. They crushed the Carolina Cobras 46-18. I have not heard about the Cobras folding, but I said Cobras were on the edge of folding, although someone got mad at me about that. But Wheeling Miners put them to sleep. They were like, nope, you guys should be out of the league, I guess. Carolina Cobras, so Wheeling Miners number 6. They jump up to number 6 for number 8. They're 2-3. They're in the mix for a playoff run here. I'm wondering that either Wheeling or Columbus will probably make it. Number 7, Carolina Cobras. They are in a huge tailspin. It is not going well. This is not a good season for them. They are crashing right now, okay? And they're at 7. Shreveport Rougarou are at 2-2, and they're hanging on to 2-2. They could be above the Carolina Cobras. I haven't seen them beat a good team yet, though. Although they beat the Wheeling Miners before the Wheeling Miners started turning it up. So Shreveport Rougarou may find themselves climbing quickly, but right now I don't see enough data for me to put them ahead of anybody other than the Idaho Horsemen, who got shut out. You can't be getting shut out and expect to be more than the last place team, okay? You got to be shut out by the Colorado Spartans. That's not cool. And you're a passing team. They threw 6 interceptions. That's horrible. Idaho Horsemen 2-3. They played Las Vegas Kings this week. They'll probably win that game, but it's a team they picked, so who cares? Boom. NFL news. The New York Jets started today by picking up the 5th-year option of some 2022 first-round picks. Cornerback Sauce Gardner from the Bearcats. He gets a $21.1 million boost. Go Bearcats. Go Bearcats. Okay. And then wide receiver Garrett Wilson, he got picked up his 50 option, $16.8 million contract extension. And then, defensive end Jermaine Johnson got his 5th-year option picked up for a $13.4 million extension. Okay, cornerback Will Johnson. I predict he'll be drafted by the New York Giants. I think they're smoke screening with Abdul Carter. They're smoke screening with Shadir Sanders. I think they're going to pick cornerback Will Johnson. But right now, other teams interested in Will Johnson are the San Francisco 49ers and Miami Dolphins. We'll see if he falls that far. I think it will be picked by the Giants, but I've been wrong many times before. New York Jets, they're expected to draft tight end Tyler Warren. That's what I said in my mock draft, my round one mock draft, and I still stick by it. It sounds like they're going to pick Tyler Warren. The Tennessee Titans, they have several teams that are asking them and kind of discussing with them the status of quarterback Will Levis. They're probably going to pick Cam Moore, and I've been told it's a lock. But the people are like, well, what about Will Levis? We'll get you off his hands. Maybe. I don't know. He's expensive. He will be expensive. So, I mean, he's a draft pick from 2 years ago in the first round. I don't know. I feel bad for Will Levis. He has not been given a fair chance. Las Vegas Raiders expected to take running back Ashton Jeanty if he's still on the board at 6. Remember, the Patriots said, we could take Ashton Jeanty. And then Jacksonville Jaguars said, we could take Ashton Jeanty. And they're putting pressure on the Raiders to trade up. But I wouldn't trade up for Ashton Jeanty. Just take Marion Hampton. There you go. Or Scatterboo. Next, Philadelphia Eagles. They reached an agreement with their center, Cam Jurgens. He's a Pro Bowl center. He replaced Jason Kelsey. He's doing a really good job. They won the Super Bowl with him. He had a 4-year extension for $68 million. He's going to be an Eagle until 2029, so he's locked up for the long-term future. Atlanta Falcons have a lot of teams asking for a deal with Kirk Cousins, but they're saying you got to pay at least $20 million of his $45 million contract. He's a $45 million backup right now for the Falcons. They definitely got to try and move him, but they don't want to move him and pay the whole $45 million, which commonly happens in these trades. So they want a team that's going to pay $20 million. I heard on Sirius Radio on some NFL channel that they're like, well, realistically, it'd probably be like $15 million. But I guess play the game you're trying to play. They don't want to pay Kirk Cousins all that money and trade him too. So he's going to be the backup quarterback, a $45 million backup quarterback. I see why Brock Purdy thinks he should get paid. Pittsburgh Steelers are not looking for trade partners for George Pickens actively, but if a strong offer came, they would reconsider. So they are looking for trade offers, obviously. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, George Pickens worked out with Deontay Johnson, who played for the Steelers and now plays for Carolina Panthers. It seemed like maybe he was going to start fishing for a trade. Pittsburgh Steelers now say, we're not interested in finding a trade partner for George Pickens, but if you have a good trade, we'll take it. So what's that mean? It means they're going to trade him eventually. They're looking around, okay? Cleveland Browns signed cornerback Nick Needham. Houston Texans cut offensive guard Tremont Anchorum and signed tight end Irv Smith. I mentioned that during the weekend too. Irv Smith signed with them, but he officially signed with them today. The Atlanta Falcons signed former LA Chargers quarterback Easton Stick to be a third stringer, or at least compete for a third string spot. Detroit Lions, boom, the expectations are that they're going to try and trade wide receiver Jamison Williams. That'll be for some draft picks, I'm sure. That might be a draft day thing to watch as they work. They're thinking about trading Jamison Williams, wide receiver. Okay. Boom. San Francisco 49ers star tight end George Kittle says he is far apart with the 49ers on a contract extension for him. He's unlikely to report to the offseason workouts starting this week. He's going to sit out. He's not going to be like Michael Parsons and come to the workouts. He's going to sit out. It would be ideal for him, in his words, to return to Tennessee with the Titans, not because the Titans are fun to play for or are good or because of the fans, but because he already has a house in Tennessee, and it'd be convenient to just move to a team where he already has a house nearby, okay? So he has a house near Nashville. So it makes sense for him to be picked up there. So if he doesn't get paid by the Niners, he's going to go to Nashville and be closer to home. Boom! Let's see, what else we got here? Okay, so this NFL coaches and scouts, this time of year in the NFL, you get a lot of weird news trying to push around the draft board, people trying to influence people's decisions. So NFL coaches and scouts, that's very generic, said that Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe is the best running quarterback they've ever seen, including Lamar Jackson. So he's better than Lamar Jackson at running the ball. Of course, you don't last long in the NFL if you run the ball all the time as a quarterback. You'll be in the league not for long, as Jerry Glenn used to say, not for long. Okay, Baltimore Ravens signed safety Ardarius Washington to a one-year free agent tender. He's a restricted free agent. It's going to make it hold on to him for a year and figure it out from there. Okay, it's a prove-it contract, what it is. Denver Broncos signed long snapper Zach Triner. Seattle, you never think about it, long snapper until you need it. Bengals lost first big game of the year a couple years ago against Pittsburgh because of no long snapper. He got hurt, and they didn't have him, and they missed the field goal to send the game to overtime. Seattle Seahawks general manager John Schneider, he was asked about offensive tackle Charles Cross and whether or not he was going to pick up his fifth-year draft option, and he said, I don't know. I'm non-committal. He's non-committal. He's like, I don't know. Who cares? He's a tackle, man. We can get a tackle in the draft, but maybe not. So we got to figure it out. We got to think about it. Okay, in the CFL, several people were signed and released. Edmonton Elks, they have reworked the contract of national running back Tanner Green. He played Concordia in Canada. That's a youth sports team, Concordia University. So they reworked his contract. They're trying to reduce his pay, trying to help their salary cap out a little bit. BC Lions signed American wide receiver Jermaine Jackson. He was from Idaho. He played at Idaho. No one was from Idaho. He played college football at Idaho. They released American running back Devontae Price. They signed American linebacker Jeremy Lewis. Played at East Carolina. They signed American defensive lineman Demetrius Taylor. He played at Appalachian State. Montreal US signed American defensive lineman DJ Coleman from Missouri. And Saskatchewan Roughriders signed American offensive lineman Jameer Ross Johnson, who played at Texas A&M. So that is the CFL news of the day. I believe tomorrow I may go through the NFL draft is this week, starting Thursday. And then the CFL draft is next week on Tuesday. So Tuesday they have two drafts. At 11 a.m. they have the CFL Global Draft where they pick up international players, two of them, 2 rounds of that draft. And then they have, at that night at 8 p.m. they have the CFL Regular Draft where they pick 8 rounds of players, okay? So I'm going to go through my first 2 rounds of a mock draft for the CFL. After the first 2 rounds, things get real complicated in the CFL. So the Tiger Cats, they're going to need they need defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and linebackers. And those are all things that are good to pick up inside the CFL draft. Your quarterbacks usually are Americans, occasionally. There's one that's not. But if you're good in Canada to play pro football, you go play in America first. You want to get paid. Like Nathan Rourke. He played in Canada first, but he went to the NFL trying to get paid. So that draft is going to be there. A lot of times people take shots and just try to get futures picks. Calgary said they're not doing that, so we'll see what happens there. Should be a pretty exciting draft. Commonly, CFL News Hub, Mark Perry, he's the editor there and runs the website, runs the app, I believe. He sometimes has a podcast where we talk about the CFL draft, and I would love to be in that. So I got more podcast experience than I had before, so I think I'd be better at that show. It's kind of fun to do. So it's kind of like one of those ESPN type things, but for the CFL. So it's fun. But either way, whether or not it happens or not, I may still do some CFL coverage. At least the next day I'll talk about who got drafted where and talk about those breakdowns. As I'll do, and I'll grade those drafts like I am going to do for the NFL draft and the Cincinnati Bengals. Go Bengals. Boo. Remember, if you want to read about the UFL, check out UFL News Hub. I got several articles on there. There's other people that have articles on there too. They cover the other teams. CFL News Hub, I talked about the Hamilton Tiger Cats. A lot of my articles recently are the only ones on there. I don't know if the Canadian writers are not wanting to participate because of the tariff system. It's hard to say. FootballAnalysisOne.com. I'm going to have a ton of articles this week about the NFL drafts and the Bengals and their prospects. Yesterday, one was published about their top 5 edge rush prospects, and today I did a top 5 safety prospects. That's 2 things they need. They need 4 things. They need edge rushers, safeties, inside linebackers, and offensive guards. If they can get all that, they'll be having an A in that draft. But they're the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's easier said than done to be successful. They usually tend to sabotage themselves like they're doing with the Trey Hendrickson negotiations. I did mention in my article about Al Golden's defense that maybe he's just not a good fit. You know, in the edge rusher article, I think I said he's just not a good fit for what Al Golden wants to do for a top end a pass rusher. He wants a guy who can drop into space, meaning like an outside linebacker type who comes off the edge. So that might be why they didn't pay him also. So if you think about that, they're not trying to be mean to Trey Hendrickson, but they're like, bro, you're okay, but you're not what we need to go forward. And maybe not, because they had all the stuff they re-signed this year, they had it last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. So might as well make some changes and upset some people, and maybe you'll make the playoffs. Well, with that in mind, if you like the video, like it, beep, 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 and then also subscribe to the channel. We got 81 subscribers. We're trying to get to 100. That'll be awesome, okay? I'll be back tomorrow with more Football Scientific. Football Scientific portal is closed.